Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Miss Lillian's page. I am Crysta from Litter to Glitter, furniture artist out of Barry, Texas. I keep saying it wrong, so Sue keeps giving me grief. So when I get it right, I have to people.
Well, Sue copies you, so.
I know. Then Sue says she's from Barry, and she's not. So, guys, so glad that you're here. We've been kind of running around a little bit. Got here like a minute late, and I'm so sorry. So what are we doing today? If y'all remember last week, I cleaned this with my first step prep. Get my glasses off because I can't see. I got a glare. Woo! Why didn't y'all tell me my glasses were so dirty before I went live? Jeez. Okay, so last week you saw me clean this with my first step prep, right? You saw me all scrub it up dub and 3 men in a tub, and you know I got the gritties and the nasties off. Okay, so I painted this, and you see the drawers are out of it. So, and I painted just a thin coat of, what did I use? Old cupboard. Wanted it kind of an off-white, not a stark white, just a little bit off. But I am going to be covering it with some really pretty decoupage. And I'm going to cover this area here with the decoupage. I'm going to do the 3 drawers. And each side is going to be decoupaged. And so that's what we are doing. Two Chatty Chicks is on. She says, hello. She didn't even say hello. She went, hello. Okay. Before we get started, let me show you guys, if I can get you, I can't get you guys around. Hold on. No. Please don't do that, Austin. My son's in here. So, oh, there's Sue's legs. So Sue is in here. She is working on a China hutch. And then I'll just, there we go. And we have a special guest in the studio with us today. So let me see if I can get her on camera. This is Lowrider. She's the smallest, and they pick on her. So she's been hanging out with us. I've had her in my little granny knapsack today. And so she is hanging out. But I'm going to hand her over to my son so I can get this stuff done and get rolling for you guys. And there you go. Okay. Here, puppy, up and away. Renee says it's going to be beautiful. Delana says, hey. Ann says, hey, pretty lady. 2 of my favorite people are on. And so, Whiskey Girl, you can't. This is the decoupage paper I'm going to be using. And I liked it because it's, and that's why I chose the outer I did in Nautical. That looks a lot bluer on camera than it is in person. But you can, yeah. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not really worried that it's not covering the whole thing. And the reason for that is, well, I'm going to kind of blend in the sides and age it anyway. And so I want this decoupage to kind of pop. And Delana says, Lowrider has definitely found her new home. Can anybody let me borrow $350 for the adoption fee? Stacy said, oh my goodness, it's puppy prime time. Yes. So this is the decoupage paper I'm going to be using. I did want the colors in it to pop, even though I'm going to age it afterwards. And that's why I used my old cupboard on the background of where the decoupage is. And then the case itself, you can see, let me turn it. There's puppies everywhere. I've got it on one of my wheelie carts. We've got the outer casing is in Nautical, and it's just one quick coat. All right, so decoupage. What do you need decoupage? Oh, it's so simple. Oh, let me tell you. What you're going to need is you're going to need your handy dandy water mister bottle. See, I have to label mine water because I do have one that has other stuff in it. Like my first step prep is in one. I've got one that's got neem oil for my garden. All sorts of stuff. So I have a bunch of these around the house, and they all have labels on them. You're going to want some of your Miss Lillian's luster. Now, this one is a sample size that I got when we did a paint show, a painting party, and Miss Lillian sent samples for that. And so I've had the sample for a very long time. So the lusters come in 8, 16, and 32. But this is a sample. So what I'm trying to do, guys, honestly, is I am trying to use up stuff that I have in my shop, and I've got a whole bunch of decoupage and transfers that so I just need to use this stuff up. Now, you can use a popsicle stick. You can use a brush. This is actually, I got from the $1.25 tree store. It's actually for like crickets, your cricket to cut stuff out, your vinyl. And so these are great to use as well. The reason that I'm using this one instead of, a lot of times I have the larger blue tool that has the felt on the end, and normally I do that because these areas are so small and I want to make sure that I'm getting up into those edges very, very easily. Then that's why I'm using this one, because of the edge on it. Now, if you have the blue tool and it's got the felt on the end of it, like a lot of us do, the best thing I can tell you when you're decoupaging is to go ahead and put it inside of a Ziploc bag, and that way the glue won't get on your felt. You'll still get the benefits, but that felt won't get the glue and get ookies and sticky and yucky, and then you got to throw it out and buy another one. I know they're only like $3, $4, but still, that's money. Y'all know I'm a baller on a budget. I love me some budget, and so what we're going to do first is we're going to do this side. And it is larger than the area, but what I'm going to do is that you can take this and cut it out if you like. You can. Or you can let it flap over. You take your tool, once we get it down, right into those corners, directly into those corners, and see what I'm doing. And actually, the best way to do it, I have found, is that if you take this and line it up on one edge, you've got a clean edge on this side, and then you use your tool. And again, I'm not expecting it to be perfect, and there is a little bit here, but this isn't a book match. Well, it is a book matched image, so I'll probably come back and do the bottom as well. So let's start with the decoupage first. Actually, I think I'm just going to go down along that line, and then when I piece it together, what I will do is piece it on that, because it has a slit, which means if I don't exactly book match it, it's not going to be a big deal, because they've got that cut in there anyway. It's going to give you that little bit of leeway to play with it. Kat says, ugh, bad service in this storm. We'll watch on replay. So you see what I'm saying here, guys? Somebody give me a thumbs up if I'm making any sense with the whole book matching. It is a repeating image, so I can come back with another piece of the decoupage and put it up here. But if I started it up here, then cut it, then I would have to cut it down here. This piece is going to cover this whole area. I've got that little crevice right there. It's going to give me some leverage and be there. Keely's on. Hey, Keely. So, you got me singing that Minion song from your TikTok you were watching earlier. Bad Sue. So, I'm going to grab my Miss Lillian's chip brush. Great for doing decoupage. With your decoupage medium, and I am using luster, you don't need to get a clear, concise area. And just to make this easier, I'm going to flip that lid up. Look, I'm flipping my lid, guys. And I'm going to put my luster in here. You're just going to paint on, not a liberal amount that it's going to be, running out the sides. Why do I have a whiskey hair? Whiskey. Silly puppy. And I'm just making sure that the whole area is kind of covered. If you have a larger decoupage area, you may want to do this in sections. But for this small of an area, we are just going to go full tilt boogie and do the whole area in one fell swoop. Okay, so I've got a good amount on there. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to, I like to do it on the back. Chastity's here. Hey, Chastity. Keely says what you're doing is making sense. All right. Thank you, Keely. I like to spray the back of my decoupage paper, not the front of my decoupage paper. Why? I don't know why. I think that it works. Just, you don't need to soak it. Just enough to make it pliable. Alrighty then. Now I'm going to go off of this side. Make sure that it's right at the top. Well, I'm going over just a little bit, but that's okay. I got to book match it anyway. Just want to make sure that it is straight along my side. There we go. Not much, just a little. And then I'm going to go back with my tool here. Like I said, pick this one up at the $1.25 tree store. And very gently going over, getting all of my little air bubbles out, making sure that I'm right up to that edge. And if you don't want to cover the whole edge, if you don't want to cover all the way to the edge, you don't have to. Hey, Sue.
Yeah.
Would you do me a favor? Would you please go ask Austin to keep the demons?
I knew you were going to say that.
You know, if he could appease the demons.
The other three are laid here on the paint turf.
Well, ours are, but the puppies are in there, and they think it's Puppy WrestleMania. They think that it is time to play. So I'm just making sure I'm going back. I'm going to take this, and this is why I used this tool with the super tight edge. See how super duper thin that is? And that way I can go right up into those corners. See how it's creasing that paper out? And then when it dries, it'll be really easy to go in with a X-Acto and hit that and then take it right off. And so there you go. There's your decoupage. That is how simple decoupage is when you know the easy method. I know some people iron and some people swear by it. I don't like it. I don't. And it's not that I think other people are doing it wrong. It's just, for me, that's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't iron my clothes. I'm not going to iron my furniture.
What's an iron?
Yeah, Sue, what's an iron? That's why we're friends, just so you know. In my house, laundry is survival of the fittest. If it says that I got to separate it out and I got to do all this stuff, baby, you're going to be pink. All right. And I don't have a white shirt. I've now got a pink shirt. It is survival of the fittest when it comes to my laundry around here. So I'm just going and making sure that I don't have any air bubbles. All right. And that will stay for a few hours, and then it'll dry. And then I'll come back and I will clear coat it. Now, actually, I'm going to put down just a little bit of clear coat. I'm not going to hit this corner yet because I want it to dry. I want to X-Acto it out. I know that also people I know will, they will cut it while it's wet. For me, honestly, a lot of times what happens with that is I will get little rips there instead of a clean line. On this, I definitely want a clean line. If I am doing something where I'm going to blend in the edges, then I will do it wet. And I will go ahead and tear those edges off, because I will then, but I'm just leaving about I would say maybe 1/8 of an inch from that edge. So if you are a Miss Lillian's retailer home studio partner, please put in your shop links so everyone can find you and they can follow you and they can give you much love. All right, so I'm going to tilt you guys down because I am doing, first of all, I just realized I'm going to be doing, Chastity says that she normally waits for it to dry out as well. So I know some people do it wet, some people do it dry. It's a personal preference and it depends. For this piece, because I do want that clean all the way to the edge, I'm waiting until it dries. That's what I'm doing. I'm just waiting until it dries. So I need to make sure that these drawers are not, even though they appear the same size, I need to make sure that they will fit in. And that's what I wanted to make sure of, because even though they look the same size, one is maybe, again, a smidge off. And so if I, even though it's not going to matter, but for me it matters, when somebody looks at it, it won't matter. So this is the top drawer. Again, I did it in the old cupboard. Sue is on. She says, hey, she's magic. Sue's everywhere. So on these, let me get you guys down here. Dun, da, da, da. We are Junkin' Jones gang on Facebook. Stacy says, I have some unused vintage wallpaper that I've tried to use on furniture, but it doesn't stick well. I bet this technique with Miss Lillian's luster would activate that wallpaper backing and help adhesion. It very well may. So on this one, again, I'm going to have to book match these because it doesn't fit all the way across. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put these two babies just a smidge off of each other. Well, I'll do the second one later. Oh, what the heck? I'm a paint rebel. We'll do it together. I am a rebel like that. Just a smidge off. Again, we're going to add our luster. A little bit further apart. There you go. Stacy, I would say try that on a practice board. If y'all know, I often tell Stacy to try a practice board, and then she says, I didn't do a practice. And then she'll call me and say, I'm having this issue. And I'll say, did you try a practice board? And she'll say no. And then I'm like, well, why not? There you go. So again.
Excuse me.
Hello.
For the same reason, you don't buy clothes you got to iron.
Yeah.
You don't do a practice work.
But I'm okay. I'm okay with walking around with a wrinkled shirt. I'm not okay with walking around and like delivering a piece of furniture that has bad finish on it. So it's priorities. I prioritize my furniture and my art over my clothes. Anything else, Sue? She's like, no, I'm done. Practice boards. Stacy's laughing. All right. So we're just going to put these down. And one thing I do like about this decoupage paper is that there is no up or down because the flowers are all different directions, which is actually quite nice. And so I'm just going to kind of lay it across. There you go. And I'm just going to run over it just very, very gently. Make sure that I get right up to these sides. Making sure that the luster is getting into, no wonder I had to talk so loud. I didn't realize the dryer was going. And making sure that the luster is getting into the backing. That's all you really need to do. You don't need to force it or scrub it down or anything like that. And then I will, again, with this one, I'll go ahead and add just a little bit of top coat over top. And when it dries, it'll be nice and ready to come back on these edges. If you have a very fine sandpaper, they will sand off very, very easily once they're dry, and you will get a very, very clean edge. And so look at that. Somebody needs to go in there and tell these puppies that this is not Sparta. Do you hear them in there? Holy shnikes. And so there you go. 2 drawers done very easily. When I am ready, I will come back and bookend these and make sure that they line up. Renee is asking, Stacy, have you used Lackluster or used wallpaper paste? I have used that before. So, Stacy, I know that on your painting journey, I have kind of been your guru, but I can tell you anything that deals with like the faux wall finishes. Renee did that for years before she came into the furniture painting world. And she is absolutely your go-to for that. So can I answer your questions? Yes. I will answer your questions with the confidence of like a 3-year-old in a Batman t-shirt. All right. But when it comes to Renee, she's got you when it comes to the faux finishing and walls and wallpaper. She's got you, girl. So, why are you laughing at me, Sue? You didn't like my analogy, my 3-year-old in a Batman shirt, the confidence? She's back there giggling.
I live with this.
Renee says, thank you for that. Now I'm rolling on the floor laughing. Chastity says, satin luster is my favorite decoupage medium. Mine as well. Let's talk about that for a second. Y'all have already seen me do these, so if we don't get to this, that's fine. I'll do it when I get off camera, but I plan on getting back to this. But let's talk about that. A lot of, in the beginning, when, you know, decoupage was young, they used to have these thick pastes. Like, do y'all remember like the glue paste when we were in kindergarten, 1st grade, elementary school, even into middle school? This stuff was like crusty and like, yeah. And that's what they had. I mean, they didn't have better products then. And then a lot of people went to Mod Podge. And Mod Podge was, oh, Sue, honey, your face is going to stay like that. Just stop. You need to stop.
The Mod Podge face.
Yeah, you should have seen that face. It was horrific. And so a lot of people went to Mod Podge because it was better. And some people used Elmer's glue. And some people watered down Elmer's glue. Yet Renee went, yuck, Mod Podge, ugh. But now we have better products. I have been doing furniture off and on since I was 16 years old. And I'm going to tell you that's a couple of decades ago. It was last week. I just graduated high school 2 days ago. Yeah. Hot girl summer. And so I have seen the evolution of products throughout the years. And now we've got better products. And I have to tell you that the Miss Lillian's lusters are perfect for doing decoupage. 1, 2, I'm missing, there it is. I was like, I know I cut 3 pieces of decoupage. And again, on this one, I'm going to take it here and down and get it to one end. And then I will use the tool to make a very, very good edge and then let it dry and then get in there with an X-Acto once it dries. Also, one of the things that I do, because again, I'm a baller on a budget, is sometimes if you leave the cap off, or like with us, we moved And in the move, my products were not temperature controlled. So I had a few of my lusters that, through my own neglect, did yellow in the can. So what do you do with your yellowed top coats? That's what I use for my decoupage medium. There you go. I'm not throwing anything out. It still is serving its purpose. It just kind of yellowed a little bit. And so, especially if you're going to age your piece, using a slightly yellowed top coat will work. So there you go. So I'm going to get this on, and then who do you have? You've got
Fat Boy and Lowrider.
oh, Fat Boy and Lowrider.
Two noisy ones.
You got the two troublemakers out.
Yep.
And so again, I am going to flip it. I'm going to hit right up to that edge. I want to make sure that I get that top. And then here is my little Cricut tool. Again, Dollar Tree. Making sure that there's no bubbles or anything like that. And I'm getting that, and you might be able to see it on camera. I don't know if you can or not, where you can see that paper is pulling out and it is actually creasing while it's wet. And I'm making sure that I'm all the way up to the edge, and then I will let it dry. And that is when I will cut it. Make sure, excuse me. Whiskey Girl and Milo are playing right behind me on the tarp. What did you give the dogs? That's what I want to know, because all the dogs are just in like extreme puppy play mode.
Well, Whiskey's her normal. Milo don't know so
Well, I mean, with Whiskey, she's awake. She's always like this. All right. So again, I'm just going to seal it down on this side, leaving about a 1/4 inch, because that will give me a little bit more adhesion, make sure that it's going to stay in place. And because also I'm a lazy painter, that means I don't have to come back and do it now and open the jar and clean another brush. And, you know, it's all the things. It does all the things. Just go ahead, thin coat over. And also, since your paper is wet, is that an air bubble? There you go. If your paper is wet when you do this, that kind of allows, it thins the top coat, which will suck it into the top of that paper and really give you a good seal. You can always come back and do another coat over top with your top coats, with your lusters, and later. But if you do this while it's wet, it will give it a little bit more, I have found, of protection and to really keep it down. So there you go, guys. It's that easy peasy lemon breezy, and I have run out of decoupage paper. I've got another pack of this stuff, but Renee says she's going to sprinkle me as soon as we're done. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to allow this to dry. I need to cut some more paper. Didn't think I'd get this far, but man, I'm putting in the work today, baby. So the outskirts of this, let me show you guys over here. Underneath, we did it in an old cupboard. That way, let's talk about that for a second. If you want to decoupage and you want to make it pop, you want those colors to go, I'm here, then do it in a light, bright color. Because that decoupage paper underneath, it's going to brighten up. If you paint it a dark color, say you want it muddied, or you're doing like, especially on your goth pieces, your grungy pieces, anything that's got, you want it to have more of a darker undertone, then by all means do it over a darker color. And what that does is that will actually not, your colors will not pop as much from the decoupage. And then, so it really depends upon the what you want. So what I'll do is I'll tell you this, guys. I'll make you guys a promise. When I get done, I know that I will have a little bit of leftover decoupage paper. I will save it. I will put it on a practice board, Stacy, under a light color and a dark color, and then you guys can see the difference. Also, next week, what I will do is I will seal one and I will not seal on the top of the other one. And then we'll start applying glazes, because you can see next week what the glaze and other of your embellishings will do if you don't top coat the top of your decoupage. So we will talk about that next week. So my lovelies, I will be on.
You want to see Lowrider first? The
Oh.
baby of the bunch?
This is Lowrider.
The littlest one?
This is Lowrider. So this is Lowrider. And I don't know if y'all can see, but Milo, everyone is coming to check her out. So Chula is down here. And Whiskey Girl is over there. And Milo's dying to get to her. But she is available for adoption. You can go to Apollo Support and Rescue. You can go over to my personal page and get their link. Go over to Pet Finder. There's 5 of them, 5 babies, and they are now available for adoption. So Delana says the newest family member. So we will, like I said, somebody let me borrow $350 and I'll adopt her. I'll keep her, but you know, we got us in a recession on, baby. Speaking of recession, Miss Lillian's Xmas. No, July Xmas 15.
Yeah.
Yep, 15% off this month. Make sure when you use your affiliate links, click our links, any of the affiliates, any of us, we would appreciate it. In checkout, there is an area you can put in your coupon code, and it's July Xmas 15 until the end of July, and that will give you 15% off. So, my lovelies, I will be on Thursday night with Sue for Whiskey and Women, and I will see you guys back here next week on Miss Lillian's. Well, I just made you guys a promise. You know what we're going to be doing next week, so if you got decoupage questions, bring them, baby. Again, 3-year-old in a Batman t-shirt. I got you. All right, my lovelies.